Dogfighter is a disappointment. It's also a multiplayer dogfighting game from Dark Water Studios. There's little I can say about the game that the videos don't give away. You pick one of 4 planes along the slow and tough / fast and flimsy scale and go and shoot some other planes. There's Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch and CTF modes, which may seem a bit generic, but I think it's fair enough. Those are the only ones anyone ends up playing anyway. As far as the game goes, the flight model is pretty damn good. The planes are quick and agile, and you're never blaming them for not shifting quickly enough when you slam into the landscape. The weapons you get are quite fun too. You start with a machine gun and pick up randomly spawning power-ups. These range from a shotgun attachment to a heat-seeking missile. It's quite a pretty game. There's a good amount of detail and the maps are well designed, each with plenty of aesthetic features which prevent them from blending together, although they're all a bit sandy. The designers have clearly been playing too much Team Fortress 2. You may have noticed I'm stalling a bit. This is because whilst almost everything in Dogfighter is good, there are some serious problems with it. I'll start with the big one, the controls. People on the forums have been complaining about playing with a keyboard and a mouse. These people are idiots. You can't play a flight sim with a keyboard or a mouse. It was impossible to do in the days of TIE Fighter, it's even harder to do so now because the flight models are so much more sophisticated. If you have a joystick, you'll fare much better. The problem is most joysticks aren't supported at the moment. Darkwater haven't got any dedicated servers up and running yet, and they say once that's done, they'll welcome more joystick support. So what's the alternative? An Xbox 360 controller! Oh joy. I spent most of my time in Dogfighter with a 360 controller. There are 2 control options you can go for, Basic and Advanced. Basic is childishly simplistic. The plane automatically resets to level, and the game won't let you pull off any even slightly advanced flying techniques, so I'd advise jumping straight into Advanced. Controlling a plane is an interesting experience. Actually flying the thing is no problem. You can do most things you'd expect to be able to, and you can have plenty of fun dodging, jinking and rolling. The problem comes when you start actually trying to engage in combat. You can probably tell by the gameplay videos that I didn't do very well there. This is because the controls are just too sensitive. You can't make the small adjustments necessary to actually hit anything. You can happily shoot at planes off from a distance, but as soon as they start getting slightly closer to you, you find that you can't move that critical 1 inch to the left, because as soon as you touch that thumbstick, the plane swings wildly as if you're trying to dodge an extremely surprising mountain. And forget about actually trying to dogfight. Whilst you can dodge enemy fire to your heart's content, trying to avoid fire whilst entering your enemy's slipstream is impossible. It's really hard to execute a precise 180-degree turn as your plane moves so quickly you can find yourself doing a full 540 without even noticing. This is not conducive to effective combat. Looking at the forums and scoreboards, I don't think I'm alone with this. They tend to be populated with a few people with scores in the 30s, while the rest of us has shot down 3 enemies out of sheer luck and whose kill-death ratio is something like 2 to 15. It's important to point out that I play all my FPSs using a mouse, and anyone who plays theirs using a 360 controller will probably do much better. There are other problems. There's no proper IFF system, so if you see a group of planes off in the distance, there's no real way of telling which ones are on your team and which ones are baddies, and as I mentioned earlier, there aren't any dedicated servers here, but they're supposed to be coming our way soon. These problems aren't so much of a big problem though. Dogfighter can be fun, I'm sure of it, as long as you can cope with the bloody controls. From that perspective, Dogfighter is practically unique. I've never found a game unplayable because the controls have been too precise before. First time for everything, I suppose. Sadly, there's no demo out at the moment, but I'm sure there's a torrent out by now. If you're interested, I really would recommend trying before you buy, so whether you like Dogfighter or not will be entirely down to personal preference. Thankfully, Dogfighter's pretty damn cheap, it's 12 quid in Britain, and you're getting a very solid game for your money. With a few developer tweaks, it could be genuinely good, but for now it's in that zone a lot of indie games fall into. It's got good elements to it, but this and this need improving zone. It's in there with And Yet It Moves, Machineria and Blueberry Garden and Xeno Clash. Better luck next time, guys.